On a quiet, rainy afternoon, an elderly widow named Eleanor Brooks dialed a familiar number with shaky hands, expecting to hear the warm voice of her son, Michael, the same voice that once promised to always answer no matter what. But instead, a deep, rough voice came through. It wasn't Michael. It was a stranger, his tone heavy, weathered, like a man who had seen more road than rest. And in that instant, everything Eleanor thought she knew about loneliness began to change. For 3 years, Eleanor had lived alone in her small yellow house on Maple Street, ever since the car accident that took her husband Charles and left her son drifting further from home. Michael had once been her whole world, the boy who used to chase fireflies in the backyard and help her bake pumpkin pies every Thanksgiving. The grief has its own way of twisting the heart. After his father's death, Michael changed. Silence turned into anger. Anger turned into distance. He moved across the country, took trucking jobs that kept him on the road for months, and the calls grew shorter, colder, until they nearly stopped. Still, every evening at 6 p.m., Eleanor would sit by the window, pick up the old rotary phone, and call just to hear his voicemail say her name one more time. That Tuesday, rain tapped gently against the window pane as Eleanor, her hands stiff with arthritis, reached for the phone again. Her church friend had passed just days before, and the quiet in the house felt louder than ever. When the line clicked and a gravelly male voice answered, she froze. "I'm sorry, I must have dialed the wrong number," she whispered. But before she hung up, something, maybe the kindness in his silence, made her pause. His name was Jack Miller, a 48-year-old former biker who spent most of his life running from his past. No family, no real home. Just an old Harley, a leather vest with faded patches, and a small shop above a garage where he fixed motorcycles. Jack had just bought a new phone, a recycled number. Michael's old number. He could have hung up, blocked her, moved on. But something in Eleanor's trembling voice hit hard, right through the walls he'd built. Maybe it was because his own mother had died alone years earlier, calls unanswered, apologies unsaid. So he stayed on the line. He listened. For almost an hour, they talked about her late husband's laugh, her son's childhood mischief, and the quiet ache that filled the house. Jack shared a little two bits about the road, regrets he didn't often say out loud. Before hanging up, he told her she could call again any time. The next evening, Eleanor didn't get the chance to dial. Jack called first. "Just checking in," he said casually, trying to hide the warmth in his voice. From that day on, they spoke every evening. He learned about her secret lemon meringue recipe and the Sinatra records she still played. She learned about his favorite mountain roads and his dream of opening a repair shop where kids could learn to build things instead of breaking them. Slowly, bit by bit, they filled the lonely spaces in each other's lives. Jack started sending her photos from his ride sunsets. Open roads, and she mailed him cookies and handwritten notes that smelled faintly of vanilla and comfort. Months passed and their connection deepened. Jack became her tech helper, walking her through online grocery orders when her hands hurt too much to drive. She became the voice reminding him he still had goodness left inside him. Then came that bitter November night. Eleanor fell in the kitchen, her hip giving out. In excruciating pain, she managed to crawl to the phone and dialed the only number she could. Jack answered on the second ring. Within minutes, he'd called 911, grabbed his jacket, and hit the road riding 3 hours through freezing rain. By the time he reached her house, the ambulance was pulling up. He refused to leave her side until the doctors said she'd be okay. The nurses thought he was family, and maybe by then, he was. When Eleanor returned home, she needed help. Michael promised to visit, but kept putting it off. Jack, instead, took vacation time and moved into the guest room. He fixed the leaky faucet, trimmed her garden, cooked warm meals that filled the home with life again. As Christmas lights went up, Eleanor watched Jack stringing them along the porch. the same porch she used to share with Charles. Her hips still ached, but her heart felt lighter than it had in years. Jack had become the son her real son couldn't be anymore, not out of obligation, but out of choice. The day before Christmas Eve, Michael finally arrived, nervous, guilty, expecting anger. Instead, he found his mother laughing in the kitchen beside a tattooed biker with kind eyes. The reunion was awkward at first. There were tears, apologies, then laughter over hot cocoa and pie. Slowly, bridges rebuilt. Jack stayed in their lives, not as a replacement, but as something entirely new, proof that family doesn't always come from blood. Eleanor lived long enough to see her roses bloom again that spring, brighter than ever. Every evening at 6 p.m., the phone still rang, but no longer out of loneliness. It rang because two lost souls had found each other, all thanks to one wrong number that turned out to be exactly right.